I want Sarah to come out right now because, CA, we need to talk to her. You see, there's many countries where you cannot knock on a door. You cannot have a church. You cannot openly have services. But 3ABN, that signal comes through and gets behind the homes. We know, folks, of countries where it's actually illegal to have a Christian service. More than that, it's deadly to be a Christian, that we have hundreds of people actually meeting in underground churches, some of them 5, 10, 15 at a time. We know of one where it's over 200 that meet. And this church is really fostered by 3ABN because they watch the programs, and this is what has brought them. There are also individuals that live throughout this, and we're in touch with thousands of these. Some of them have unbelievable stories to tell, but where they receive their church by internet or by the satellite television. 9 satellites around the world. We're reaching virtually the whole world. People can either watch by internet, satellite, cable, or by using their iPhones and iPads. But this is Sarah, and that's not her real name, but I'm going to let you do the questioning on this because you've talked with Sarah.
Sarah decided to come on our trip, and how thankful we are because she comes with a story. As we have mentioned, Sarah is not her real name. We have a certain regime that we follow when we interview people, but we cannot do that. We cannot say what country she comes from. We cannot say what country she works in. There is very little we can say about that because to expose her that way might mean loss of job, loss of housing, and in extreme cases, maybe even death. She's in a Middle Eastern country. She's been there for how many years, Sarah?
I've been there for 10 years now.
Been working for 10 years. Would you tell us how you became acquainted with the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
I'm actually the 3rd generation. My grandfather, one Sabbath of one day, we was walking to town, and he picked up a paper, and that paper said Sabbath is a 7th day, a Saturday. And my grandfather took that paper and take it to his wife, my grandmother. And since then, they were celebrating and keeping the Sabbath. So I am the 3rd generation.
Thank you, 3rd generation. So you decided to move to a particular country. Why did you go to that country?
Of course, for the money, because it's tax-free, and you can really support your family. You support your children. I only got 1 child, and also to help the church.
So being there, you can make a pretty good living for yourself.
Definitely, we can.
What about your ability to openly practice your faith?
It's not really openly, but what we can do is to do Jesus' methods. And his method, and I believe that it is first to befriend someone. And when you do that, then you can share the gospel with anyone. You cannot just, I really believe in any country, just to tell them about Jesus without a relationship. So when I build a relationship with my patients, and when they can see the smile, everyone wants to see a smiling nurse, I can say that. But if there's no smile, as if you just chase everything out. So it starts with a smile, it starts with, hi, how are you? And from there up, you build your relationship with the patients or with your colleagues.
Very good. Tell us now how 3ABN has helped you sort of keep your faith going. Since you can't openly practice your faith or meet or have public meetings, how has 3ABN helped you maintain your faith, grow your faith, and stay strong in the Lord?
Well, was it not for the internet, I don't know where I would have been. And I think a few millions or hundreds of us that are staying there in Saudi Arabia, because the internet is the only source of spirituality for us. We're staying in a compound, and they are not allowed, they don't allow any Christianity to come through their satellites. So the internet is the only source of spiritual life for us. So as we know, and the church always advocates about 3ABN and various other channels, that's how we saw it. And that is the only way that you can be spiritually strong. You know, you cannot do it by yourself.
So 3ABN has been a blessing to your spiritual growth.
Definitely. It has been.
Thank you so very, very much. We need to pray for people like Sarah, who are in countries that are hostile to their faith, to their belief, but through ministries like 3ABN, they can be fed and in turn feed others and keep their faith and strength strong. Thank you so very much, Sarah. God bless you. We travel now from the Middle East to sunny Trinidad, and Shelley Quinn has an interview.
Thank you so much. Oh, what a joy it is to be, come on out, Pam. It's such a joy to be here in Israel with all of you, and we just love you, and it's been absolutely fabulous. You know, 3ABN has been 30 years of miracles, and no matter where I travel, I hear the stories of how 3ABN is touching people's hearts. The messages are touching people's hearts and bringing them into the church. And Pam Stevens, you are from the South Caribbean Conference, is that right?
Right.
Yes, and she has a great story about someone in her own town who came into the church because of 3ABN. Tell us the story.
I met this beautiful, well, elegant, dressed lady in an evangelistic campaign. And I walked up to her and I said, tell me something. How did you come to know Jesus? And she said, for years, you know, I belong to a Protestant church. And somehow I felt that I wanted to, I wasn't so happy with where I was. And so what she decided to do one day was to flip through her television stations. And she saw 3ABN. And while looking at it, she said, listen, you know, the Sabbath, this sounds like what this sounds like what I believe, you know? And she continued looking at it for 3 months. And 3 months she kept the Sabbath holy.
But now she had to keep the Sabbath holy in secret because she came from a very influential family and was very afraid of what her parents would think. So what happened after the 3 months?
After the 3 months of keeping the Sabbath, we were planning an evangelistic campaign, and she attended the program. But what happened is that her vehicle broke down on the Friday, and she had to collect it on the Sabbath. And while walking to collect her vehicle, she heard the singing of the Sabbath songs that she had heard on 3ABN from a church in the middle of the city. And she said, you know what, I need to go into this church because these are the songs that I'm hearing on 3ABN. And she walked in the church, and when she walked in, she heard the pastor talk about the evangelistic series. And she said, okay, I'm going to go to that program. And so she attended our program. I spoke with her. And you know what happened? It was like about 9 o'clock one night when the program was over. She said, you know what? I want you to teach me about the Sabbath. And so I said, okay, fine. What you heard in 3ABN is exactly, and so this is it. And she got baptized. And not only she got baptized, but her family. And she is a school supervisor in Trinidad.
And now she's extremely active in the church. And you know, it doesn't matter where we go. We hear stories like this, and it's such a blessing. Thank you so much, Pam.